Dave Barbour,
WHITEFOX.
Rumrunner.
Yeah.
What a house.
Yeah, thank you.
Why on earth would you sell such a beautiful house?
Because I want to do another one.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I remember walking through here. I mean, obviously we've known each other now for a few years.
Yep.
Co-founder of the Block, judge on the Block, and walking through here, watching you talk about how it would come together before walls were painted, before windows were in, before stones were installed, and sitting here now mid-campaign, it's been such a journey, and I still can't believe that it will be sold. But I came to one of the inspections last Saturday and watching 30, 40 people walk around and just hearing the gasps and the great commentary about what you and Angie have created. It's been amazing to witness.
Yeah, thanks. It was part of the idea for the house was that even if you had no furniture in the house, you could stand in this room and go, I feel really calm and lovely here. And because that was our starting point, then as soon as you add your furniture and your soft furnishings and all that, it really comes to life. But that was the brief in the first place. I think we got there.
It's funny what you said about when it's empty, because a lot of the times we will sell properties and you'll do a final inspection before settlement and the buyer goes, oh, it doesn't feel like what it felt like mid-campaign. Sure. Whereas this is a house where if it was empty, like you said, it still has this amazing feeling. And I was having a coffee today down at the Oxley where the office is, and we were talking to people that actually came to this inspection, and they said how they couldn't understand whether it was Greek-inspired, Spanish, Mexican, Moroccan. They couldn't actually put their finger on what was the inspiration. And you're here now. What drove you to build a house that has this feel but no one can actually put their finger on?
Well, I'm actually really happy to hear that they couldn't put their finger on it, because
and these guys were stylists.
The idea was just Mediterranean. So that's a very broad brief. But the idea was to capture, in a lot of ways, the way they build there, because I think their climate and their temperature is not dissimilar to here on the Gold Coast. So our walls are literally 360 mil thick in spots. There's not a gyprock wall in the house. It's all rendered masonry throughout the entire house. The windows, I find a lot of, when they do Mediterranean, they go for arches, whereas we wanted to go much more classic with that idea. So, framed French style almost windows, but they help frame the view. And the whole concept of this house was, and one of the things I find disappointing about houses is when you walk in the front door and you can see everything straight away, and it's kind of like the whole story is over in about 2 seconds. Whereas the idea for this place was you come through those enormous timber doors at the front, and then you're greeted with a staircase at the front that goes upstairs. It's like, that looks amazing, I'd like to go up there, but oh, that looks really interesting over there, I'll come back to this one. And it draws you through and tells you a continual story along the way. Never gives you the full picture. You just get these frames and vignettes of things that draw you through so that it tells its own story on the way through. So that when you walk in the front door, and the front door is dog-legged purposely, so that you don't walk to the front door open and go, oh, okay, I get it. You come in through a dog's leg. It's got a beautiful sort of foyer entry with an artwork, and then you turn, and then you have these beautiful windows that frame the view outside. So you still can't see everything, but it looks enticing. I now want to go out there.
It's fascinating because, as the co-creator of the Block, you've retained people's attention for 20 seasons, and that's all through storytelling and constantly engaging in the senses. And some of the things that you've just mentioned with the dog leg and just giving vignettes of intrigue to the buyer walking through, like the staircase going up to the rooftop, but you want to keep going through the main door. It's these elements that make this a true one-off. And I've always said with property, when you're living in something that's interesting and when you buy something that is not replicable, that's where not only do you get great lifestyle, but you get a great investment because you have something that is rare. And I feel that this home ticks those boxes because I've spent time here. You've been happy living here, and it's that storytelling whilst living and financially winning as well. That's what I feel this home offers. It's hitting so many different areas that the deeper you think about it, the more you can actually fall in love with it. I know that sounds quite salesy, but the reality is when you have something unique, you cherish it. And when you close that door and you feel the solid thud, and when you walk around, you feel the materials, that they're all raw, you know, beautiful, solid materials. That's where you go, aha, I'm happy to pay for something that is unique. And whilst there's not many comparables, if any comparables, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's always that funny thing when you get a valuation on a place, they all want to compare it to something. And whenever valuers came through, they're just like, I just don't know. There's nothing else like it on the market that we can compare to.
But you built this for yourself and Angie.
Yeah.
So this was never a flip. So that's where it's, you know, you can't value it. This is the new benchmark for this land size and this style of home.
Yeah, it's and I think that's the thing. My wife Angie and I spent a year living in the original house that was here, so that we could watch where the light goes, so that no matter what season it is, there's a beautiful place to sit in the house to enjoy it. Whether it's the fire pit, whether it's the west-facing day beds off the front of the house. There's upstairs with 360-degree views. Everywhere has its own spot. So the idea was that every hour of every day, no matter what season, there's somewhere amazing to sit in this house and enjoy it.
And a different view, because you've got hills, you've got garden, you've got water, you've got around the fireplace, like it's
a park.
The park. So having these different moods, depending on what time of day it is, depending on what type of social setting you're in, it is very unique. And I loved what you said earlier about how you walk through a modern home these days and within 2 seconds, you've seen the house. Whereas you walk into Rumrunner and you can go on a bit of a journey. So talk me through what it's been like living here. So, you know, what would be the 3 spots where you felt the most, and being at home is about being at ease and feeling relaxed. Where are those pockets for you?
So, well, I'd start right here, like this running onto the dining, running onto the kitchen. And again, it's all about vignettes. Like when we sit here and we look at the back there, they're handmade tiles that are timber shells behind us there out of the original Currumbin pump. So they've still got the nail holes in them. So it's getting that quite artisan feel with quite a retro feel with those sort of things. And then it's quartz on the bench tops. So the sensory effect of this space is really calming. It's really lovely. Skylights and
calming yet engaging. Like you're constantly looking at something going, oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. But you're not overwhelmed, I feel, in the space.
No. And it's the smaller details like the ceiling, for example. Those timber struts are actually from the builder's farm, from DJG Projects. He's got a farm and he literally called me and we hand selected each tree that would form the struts for this room.
I'm pretty sure I came here and they weren't even painted.
No.
That was just raw timber.
Correct.
And having that effect of the LED, which is, you know, so straight and lineal, but then the randomness of just the original timber, it's just such a beautiful effect.
Yeah, it's very much a tactile house. You know, there's travertine on the floor, but then we have an inlay of timber.
So I haven't seen this done before. Where did some of these ideas come from?
Literally from traveling, like traveling through Europe and you know, we are.
Do you remember where you saw the timber insert design?
It was in a hotel that we stayed in Italy, and we just went, this is insane.
Oh, everyone was commenting when we had the open last Saturday. Every single person was, because, you know, we made everyone take their shoes off, and you could just, they'd feel it and they go, oh,
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, and that's what it's about, because you can do tiles throughout and you can put rugs on it. That's one sensory appeal. But if you have that feeling of timber and rug and tile, and the entire house has heated floors, so at any time of year it's always comfortable to work on, then you've got a whole different thing going on. And the same with the curtains, the shears that we had. You know, we didn't recess them to make it feel modern. We have exposed rails on them. That's how they do it in boutique hotels in Italy. You know, that's the style. So it's all those little 1%ers that create the whole. And there's a lot of work in the 1%ers.
So whilst we've still said Mediterranean, there's these other Italian inspirations. It's so European. That's, I think, it's MO.
And for example, the staircase in the front. Now, no one builds a staircase to their rooftop in the entryway. It's always at the back or the side of the house. It's hidden away. That's not how they do it in Europe.
But also, if you're having people over, and let's just say you've put the kids down and you're entertaining, their younger kids, I mean, what a great way to bring your guests up without interrupting any of the, kids that are sleeping.
Correct.
Because they're going straight up to where the party's at.
Yeah.
Or the dinner.
Yeah, or the dinner. And I love to cook, and that's why there's a smoker up there, there's a full barbecue up there, there's a bar fridge, there's hot and cold running water. You can just cook up there and not have to come downstairs. It's the greatest way to entertain. It's so good.
And then you've got these other elements that people probably don't pick up on. And when you're bringing buyers through an open for inspection, it's not until that they live in the property that they go, oh, geez, I love this and I love that. One thing in particular is this amazing datum line that you've got around the entire property where you've painted the walls a different color. Talk me through about the inspiration of that feature.
So again, that was something we saw in a boutique hotel and something we just hadn't seen here. You can do, like, all these walls are rendered. They're not smooth rendered. I love that texture. So overnight when the lights on,
it was handmade.
Yes. The whole house needs there's not a square corner in the house.
What else is handmade?
In this house?
Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
What else? The Birkin bag.
Yeah.
The
Rolex
items,
watches.
Exactly. The items that have a high cost, but it's not about being expensive. It's about something having value. And unfortunately, when you're spending money, you get to retain the growth of that because it is handmade.
Yes.
And I love that I see blemishes. I love that I see imperfections because it means that I can't go down the street and see another one.
That's right. And that was the intention. Like, we did not want to sit in this house and see a straight line or a corner. The beams in the roof, we wanted them to have a raw edge to it, and the poor old plasterer, like, he was calling me every 2 hours for the first, just going, can you come and have a look at this because it's not straight? And I'd come and have a look and I go, that's perfect. And he'd be like, all right, okay. And off he'd go. He did a great job around, but just nerve-wracking for them to just let it be, just let it feel handmade is such an important element in today's living because it's hard to get. It's hard to get a house that you feel like has so much love and energy put into it that isn't a dollar-based factor. It's a heart-based factor. It's what feels the best, what looks the best, what's most livable. Right down to the light switches. We could have had a fully automated system in this house. I wanted light switches that went click, click.
Absolutely. It's like when the door shuts on the 911, there's just a sound.
There's a clunk.
That you love. So again, it's like, we're in the Gold Coast. It's a booming marketplace. It's the hottest market in Australia. And there's so many people that are, developing and building for profit. What I love about this place is that it wasn't built for profit. It wasn't built to be sold. But it just happened organically and life just changed and, opportunities present themselves and you're now sitting in this position where a home that should have never been sold, if anything, probably handed down, is now on the market. What do you think the incoming family will feel after their first week of living here?
I think someone who's lived here, even for a week, will just go, this is the most comfortable, thought through house I've ever lived in. It's just, everything is where it should be. Everything is comfortable. Everything feels great. You can't move into this house and think to yourself, oh, geez, I wish it had this element. I wish it had, it's got everything you need. If you don't want a modern house, but you want all the modern amenities,
this is it.
This is it.
Is there another layer of pressure being the co-founder of The Block, a renovation show that is part of an Aussie's vernacular, and then all of a sudden your home hits the market? What do you feel people expect from a house that you've built and designed?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I've literally overseen hundreds of renovations across the 20 years of the block. I learn from the judges. Like every week I get to watch 5 different rooms being critiqued, in such detail that if I hadn't learnt across the last 20 years what makes the best and most practical house, then I shouldn't be doing the job, basically.
Oh, it's almost like you've had the best 20-year degree.
Yes. And just being able to observe it, watch it, listen, learn, and watch how things have changed across 20 years as well. So I'm not designing things or putting things in here that are 2 years ago. They're not only are they now, they're forever. So we never design this house to feel like it'll be out of date in 2 years' time, 4 years' time. Like this is a timeless house.
Well, that's the thing. And, with the block, so many things are done that are, a fad or a particular style of the time, because that's what gets the highest clickbait. That's what engages the attention. And what is really interesting about this home is part of its craftsmanship is actually the appeal. Doing a home like this to this type of level, you can't actually squeeze into a 12-week renovation. That's the reality of it. So whilst you've seen renovations done extremely quick, you know how long this took. Talking about the construction here, what were some of those building elements that were so intricate that even you yourself, who have watched so many renovations, were still blown away by?
Yeah.
The timbers, the windows?
Yeah, it's the things you don't see that I'm most proud of. Go and find the guttering in this house. It's all handcrafted and customized.
At the inspection, I had an Irish couple here, and I said to them, "Do you love the house?" And they said, "Oh, it is insane. We love it." And I said, "Can I show you something?" We went up on the rooftop and I said, "Look at the gutters." Because the gutters is what I was most impressed with.
Yeah.
You can't see the gutters.
You can't.
Because you've put timber slats over the top of the gutter.
Yep.
And it's part of the structure.
Yeah.
And what I said to that couple, I was on the angle of, you're impressed by what you can see, and what impresses me is what you can't see. Because if the builder and the owner have put effort into what is not visible, then can you imagine how much effort went into selecting the right timber, the right tile, the right insert? And they just said, "Wow,
Yeah.
we did not think of it like that."
Yeah, and other practical things that are quite difficult to problem solve. Like if you look at the parapets around the exterior of the house, 99% of houses will have an aluminium flashing around it. And as soon as you have that, it's no longer a Mediterranean feel. We had to find a way to work it so that we could get the waterproofing and everything happening, but have a rendered parapet over the top. So when you look at this house from outside, it's those little details that completely set it apart from everywhere else.
So how did you find the way to do that? Was that another overseas?
No, that was my builder just being incredibly clever. Like he was such a collaborative builder, and like things like the guttering, I came up with. In collaboration, we'll work out how we do the parapets. And at no point was you like, "Well, you can't do that." He would just help me problem solve everything that was here. So all those little details, like even just the glass panels that are on the exterior around the pool, no two are the same. So everyone had to have an individual template made because it's hand rendered. Now I could have got it all squared off and then it would have been cheaper to get, 8 panes of exactly the same size glass, but that's not the ideology behind this house. The idea is that it's organic, and so therefore everything has to be organic, and it is.
So this will be sold over the next week or two. And this will be a part of your past. What are the 2 main things that you'll miss the most about living here?
Definitely just the pure livability. Like we spent so much time thinking it through that I will miss sitting outside at sunrise, watching the sun come up because it faces east, watching the rowers go up and down on a Sunday morning. I'll miss that. I'll miss having amazing barbecues, and of course the entertainment area upstairs is second to none. Like it's just crazy to have. It doesn't matter if it's the middle of the day, it doesn't matter if it's the evening, it doesn't matter if you're putting on a breakfast. It's amazing up there. And I'll miss, to be honest, my man cave, if you like. You know, that was originally designed and still works for us. It's got 4-meter high ceilings that it can have 2 car stackers in there. Because that was the original idea for that.
Car stackers, boat,
anything you want.
You know, anything.
Yes. So that was the original concept of it. But then we just fell in love with the light that streamed in through there. We just went, okay, we're not going to use it for that.
So you're loving the sunrises, the rolling, the rooftop, and the man cave, and that's because you've lived here. And for somebody that is part of the selling campaign, as a person that is always looking at the sales side of things, I think that the things that have been, I think, the most engaging is just the style. There is something to be said about style and aesthetic and how you feel within a particular space. How I feel whenever I've been here is I feel like I'm on holiday. And if a property can evoke an emotion that takes you away, I think that's always something really hard to find, hard to get in a square box.
Yes.
So I love where this takes you mentally. I love the fact that it's single level. I think you look at a home like this and you assume that it's across multiple levels, and single level living for a home that is so engaging, that does have its nooks and crannies, is really interesting. And as a car nut, as you are, being able to get, you know, cars off street and have the man cave is huge. And I think when people were walking around, I could see that the man cave actually is more applicable, because some people would use that as a billiards room, or a teenager's retreat, or an art gallery, or, you know, an art studio. So having that ability to have such a huge multi-purpose area that is essentially, you know, it's got the poetic freedom of whoever owns it, is a really big sales feature. And, you know, we've bypassed the fact that you've got the most stunning pool, but that's just a bonus on top of everything else.
Everyone has a pool.
Everyone has a pool in Queensland.
Yeah, I'd say my favourite thing about this house is the light. It changes all day, every day.
But you studied it for 6 months before building.
And the fact that it works, the fact that you can sit in a room and across a couple of hours, the feeling of the room changes, the hallways change.
But it shows in that time lapse, because I remember when you took us through the first time, you said at different times of the day, the hallways will act as features based on the light hitting the tile.
Yes.
In the video on that time lapse, it is stunning. Like, part of the artwork isn't what you see, it's where the light bounces.
It's so true that the light becomes the artwork. And even the way we've done the roofing on all the exteriors, just having that narrow beams of light come through.
Comes off the slats.
Yes.
It's so good.
And that's so Mediterranean and just so comfortable to sit in. It's gorgeous.
Mate, I just think it's a total credit to yourself and Angie for, you know, having the guts to do something that hasn't really been seen before, and to do it on a scale where you haven't held back, because it wasn't a project, and now it's a home on the market. WHITEFOX is so lucky to have it as one of our first listings to take to the Gold Coast market. And I know how excited the team are and how well it's been received by the public. So thanks for taking the time to sit down and talk about it, because I know it's probably a bit emotional letting it go.
Yes, it is. I may cry, but I'll hold back.
That's right. We'll cut it anyway. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Cheers, mate.